when he's alone, he sometimes doesn't struggle as much as Skylark. So I like to see this approach already though by Finem, just sticking to their guns, not really worrying about what NewBee will do.
So the downside of Finem also being slightly predictable on that is that you see NewBee's bans, they ban out the Slark and they ban out the Sniper, and those are the heroes that Madara and Thug love to play, so it feels like at least this first game both teams are just going to play what they're most comfortable with, and then see if that works.
I think Finem, especially like knowing them, I think a really big pickup for me just standing out, even though we haven't seen it much, is the Ursa. Because it's very good versus the Juggernaut, and it's just, they really like it with Darkseer and with Bounty Hunter, since you get the mobility from track, you get the Iron Shell, like, just like, it's the kind of things that just enable him to have a better game.
Yeah, those two are really good partners for the Ursa. And it just allows you to play that kind of bounty hunter game. You don't want to stop. You want to keep fighting, get kills, get trade kills even. Really good against the Juggernaut, like you say, even in the laning phase.
That's something that they, at least they very highly like to do and emphasize on in their draft.
So Rubik Juggernaut start for NewBee, what does that mean?
It's just a very all-rounded draft. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that opening. You have very good lanes. You have pretty good team fight with Omni Slash. Just in general, you want to be flexible. Like I say this time and time again, you open your draft, you want to make sure that you are very open-ended to different kinds of strats. You adjust. And we talked about NewBee. They are a team that likes to change depending on what the opponent is doing.
I think this time they didn't really change too much, though. I think this is a super stable NewBee. Like, Rubik Sanking was super contested in China. They actually tend to pick it in the first two, but the Juggernaut as well, this is like their first three opener that I think I see most commonly from NewBee. But it's also very good versus Finim's heroes that they do have already, because they do have some push coming out of the Juggernaut, natural push, and then they have heavy team fight already coming out with the Sanking Rubik.
Yep, the thing about the Bounty Hunter pick is like you want to roam. You don't want to stay in a lane. And if that happens, it means that your safe lane, there's only going to be two heroes, and Sanking is the kind of hero that if you put him in the right situation to pressure the enemy safe lane, he can cause all sorts of problems. So he might actually force the Bounty to stay bot, which is not something you want. When you pick Bounty, you want to roam.
Or start bottom, and then he makes the moves, because that's some people just like to, they guarantee their safe lane.
That really depends on who's the partner with the Sanking. If the Sanking has a really good partner like an Undying, then things could get rough. Your Bounty is not going to be able to do much against that.
But Finem has all the time in the world to prepare for that, as they see the Sanking and they know exactly what's going to happen with that.
Yep, that's why they're taking some time here. It's very crucial for them to decide, oh, this might be a pressure lane, so we need to have a good lane to deal with it.
So yeah, I was going to say they're probably deciding on if they do want to show Madara's hero just yet or just prep with Spartans. They do go for Spartans with the Bane. Just a very strong frontline, or strong laning hero.
Yeah, and it's good against the Juggernaut. You have the Fiend Script to stop the spin TP. So that's all in all a really, really good hero to deal with what NewBee has right now.
While on the other side, looking at the opposite factor, NewBee's heroes actually do quite well versus Bane as well. Sanking easily able to stop the Fiend's Grip, and Rubik has the easiest steal in the world to grab the Fiend's Grip. So Rubik right now has some cool steals, with the Bane spells, and if he's able to get track.
But he does struggle against Bounty in the early stages.
Yes.
That's the only downside about the Rubik this game.
Absolutely.
So that's all going to rely on how the laning phase plays out, what's going to happen, how is Finem going to do the lanes, are they going to just leave the Bounty at top with the Darkseer?
I love having you two on the draft panel, just because it does feel like you've got, like, in A Beautiful Mind, when all the numbers are just swooping around his face and it's just like trying to piece it together the puzzle.
Thanks.
That's what I feel like.
Did you call us smart? I think you just called us smart.
He called you guys smart.
That's what it feels like to
me. See, it paid off. I called him good looking before, and now it pays off.
That's right.
I didn't say anything though. So I'll just make fun of you some more.
Sure, we could. How about me and you play chess and the winner plays Winter? How's that?
I'm awful at chess, so I will pass.
Oh damn. Oh, welcome back, OD. It's been a while.
This hero like fell out of existence.
Where did you go?
So they reveal SCCC's hero first, meaning that Finem has some time to think about what to face up against that.
Basically, OD does pretty good against most of the heroes. If you want to really win the lane against OD, you need like a Razor. You need something very, very particular to win the lane. You pick the hero to win the lane.
This is a bit different from what at least I would expect from Finem. I guess there's just Ursa's kind of like a hero that's fallen off completely, but it's one that I know that they love. But they also want to be able to, they want to be able to have that strength in their lane, since they want the Bounty Hunter not to be down there. So picking the Luna kind of indicates that to me, and also having that later scaling potential, and also an objective taker and a building hitter, which is the Luna, which helps your draft. And with the Darkseer mech, it's like more team fight.
Hey guys, where's Bat Rider?
The other thing about the Luna pick is like it gives you like your support much better time because of the aura. So you know teams have been really focusing about just getting that hero for a better laning phase.
It's interesting to me that you mentioned Batroid.
By the way, the Razor is gone, so no Razor against OD.
And Sniper's banned out earlier as well.
And Earth Spirit. Awesome. Sorry.
It's okay. They were cool.
They were cool. So we're missing for NewBee KP's hero, right?
Yeah.
He's played a lot of Batrider.
It might be the
Sanking.
Sanking is still open.
Yes.
They could technically still do the support Sanking and another offlane. But right now for Finem, they
ban
Kunkka. That's one of Kaka's favorite hero, and they have OD. So Kunkka has a lot of synergy with NewBee's lineup. One good ban there for Finem.
I want Finem to have more scaling potential with another mid laner.
Scaling, like you want more like another core,
another stronger core.
But then if you do that, you might have to sacrifice your lane. Like, what kind of hero are you looking for? You need to do well against OD at the same time. You can't just have a bad matchup against OD. Like, not many heroes can fulfill that criteria.
There's not many left. I mean, the ones that Finem really like are like the Puck. It doesn't do that great. It's a hero that's fallen completely out of favor. It's not the best for OD.
But do you just pick the hero just because it's good for your lineup and just sacrifice the laning phase here? Now that's the important question. What do you choose for? Do you value the laning phase more, or do you value what works for your team more?
It's like Invoker and Puck are the two that stand out for me for Finem right now. But actually, okay, that's a pretty good matchup versus the OD as well, and it's actually one of Thug's hero.
It's okay, but I think OD still does really well in that matchup. But it's very good with the bounty. Like the way they want to approach the game is.
KP Omni Knight it is, so it is a support Sand King.
That lane is still like Omni Knight Sand King. That lane is super scary if they do that lane. But Finem's dual lane is not very well equipped to deal with that.
I think there's a lot of pressure on maybe next time with his bounty hunter.
I think so too. I think he needs to get a lot done, and then they need to take very scrappy mid-game fights away from the Omni Knight.
Okay, so all eyes on MNT.
MNT.
Yep. One team wants to 5-man, the other team wants to pick a kill here and there.
I mean, it was first draft, right? Literally, Bounty Hunter throwing down the gauntlet. Finem are going to go ahead and try and start with a bang. They have made their selections, and the draft does have our desk a little apprehensive. Perhaps our casters are going to be more enjoying or more welcoming of the Greeks' choices. We're going to go ahead and head over to them. It's Capitalist and Malini to cast through this series. It is going to be a big one.
Well, I don't know about their drafts, but I know the audience sitting behind me is more than welcoming of both of these teams. A lot of fans behind us, as you can see. Finem, group stage was a rough one, wasn't it, Merlini?
They had a rough group.
Yeah, they were one game away from first, one game away from second, end up third, and then we go into the main stage and they're matched up against one of those top 5 teams that we talked about before the tournament started in NewBee. This is going to be a very real test for both of these teams, right? Because NewBee, they definitely have had a little bit lesser of a showing than probably they wanted. They wanted to be able to come out with a bang and be able to show Virtus Pro what's up, but unfortunately they ended up in second and now have to face up against probably one of the tougher of the European teams.
At least they gave us a very memorable game versus Virtus Pro. That was quite the showing. And in this game, we think they're slightly underhanded because of the last pick, Omni Knight. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling like even before the Omni Knight, I wasn't too sure. I'm not a big fan of early Bounty Hunter picks. And yes, maybe next time's Bounty Hunter may be legendary, but I'm still not sure if they're going to be able to make it work because it looks like NewBee, they just naturally have some lanes that are going to be tough to be able to gank, and they also have very strong team fight. I don't feel like we're really going to see that Bounty Hunter momentum this game.
Well, maybe next time. Already gathering a lot of intel behind the T1 tower in the mid, getting some insight into the lane setup. Doesn't look like any... there does actually look to be a lane swap. Madara will be heading top with the rest of the Finem supports.
Yeah, trying to get away from this aggressive situation that is coming out from NewBee. So they're running the Rubik, Sand King, and a Juggernaut. That is a fearsome kill lane. Leading with the telekinesis, follow-up stun coming out from that Burrow Strike, and then all that spin damage. Hard to see how Luna would be able to effectively farm against that. So they're going to switch things up, but NewBee, I'm sure, aren't going to be too scared of leaving a Juggernaut at bottom lane. These two supports of NewBee's, both Faith and Kaka, I think can pair up.
He's running into a Sentry Ward right now. He is spotted, but Juggernaut is nowhere close. They might get some good damage on him in the meantime.
Oh, no way. He's hiding right in the trees. He's going to have to pop out with the Tango, but looks like he's going to be run down. Burrow Strike is there. It doesn't even look like they're going to have to blow the spin. That'll be the first blood. U9 will get himself not only a free lane, but he'll also get the coveted first blood.
So it looks like Finem have already sent the Darkseer off to the jungle. He was prepared to Iron Talon from the start. He's actually cut a pathway in the trees to make his time a little bit easier. And the question is, what is the Bounty Hunter going to do? Is he going to try and play as an offlaner and soak up the free experience on the bottom lane so they don't push a tower, or try and harass the other lanes?
Well, I'm not sure if he's really going to be able to have too much of an effect at mid. Templar Assassin, I feel like it's just not going to be a hero that will take advantage of that. Maybe later on, though, he can couple with the Darkseer jungling, and they can do some potential Ion Shell harassment. Feels like right now it's perhaps better for him to try his luck as a pseudo offlaner here against the NewBee aggressive tri-lane.
Especially with the Bane on top. Bane is harassing out Omni very effectively.
Doesn't seem to keep KP completely out of experience right now. You can see the duo pairing up to push KP back as much as possible, but he's already level 2.5. Our Bounty Hunter, after being caught like that, still not level 2 himself.
They do have another dust on the Sand King. No scan available for them yet to get a clear sign of where maybe next time is. He's just hiding in the trees. That's a very difficult place to gank, especially if you drop the sentry ward like closer behind tower. There's almost no way that they can find him. Maybe they can tell by pulling down the scoreboard and seeing that he's level 2 right now, because there's not really any other place that he'd get level 2. Maybe,
yeah,
I guess like if he leeches off Skylark, but that's very unlikely.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to be taking too much time away from that Darkseer. I love NewBee's, just like they are wasting very little time here. Maybe next time thought about it. It almost seemed like NewBee were kind of baiting him out a little bit too. Maybe next time will not fall for that though.
Oh, they dropped the sentry.
They dropped the counter ward though, and they are going to be able to find maybe next time. Burrow Strike is coming up. He's barely out of range. They're going to be able to get the dust, and there's the Burrow Strike finally. Follow-up telekinesis and a spin. A second death for maybe next time. NewBee are wasting no time whatsoever. They set up clear dominance in the lanes here. They use their aggressive tri lane to bully down the tower as efficiently as possible, even spinning down waves to make it happen quickly. And they've already picked up the first 2 kills of the game.
Bottom lane is all theirs as Sand King proceeds to pull. So this is even more problematic as more and more farm goes NewBee's way.
And this has got to go back to the bit of the problems, right, with that first pick, Bounty Hunter. NewBee being able to just set up very strong lanes for themselves leaves the Bounty Hunter very here, but he does not have the mana for a TP. Meanwhile, bottom lane, U9 was being gone on by the combo of Darkseer, Bounty Hunter. Back over to Spartan. He'll finally be spotted by SC on his way back to the mid lane. Spartan, my friend, no mana whatsoever. A Burrow Strike awaiting him. A death is him. A death is seemingly inevitable. What the hell? Spartan, he's making his way out of this one. awaiting him. A death is... And he still needs 25 mana for a TP, but he's saying this is all worth it. He's going to be able to buy another pair of wards, juking around, trying to buy as much time as possible before his inevitable death. But it will come at the 5-minute marks. SC will be the one to pick it up.
Still some fancy moves from him. Bought himself a good 20, 30 seconds for his team. They need some more stacks on the rate. Aside, I think waiting for 10 minutes and getting that tome of experience is just going to be way too late. I think they need to get some more farm in the meantime. So he uses a single tree to juke Kaka.
Juke Kaka out. Completely whiffs the Burrow Strike. And that's good. I'm mad Finem for things like that. Even on the losing side of a laning phase, they still find a way to have fun.
They're so jolly. It's great. I love seeing that reaction from him.
And they're going to need those high spirits, that's for sure. It's not looking great on the net worth chart. 2,500 gold lead right now for NewBee.
This is where you tell your team, we have track. We have track.
We have the comeback. We have the comeback mechanism ready to go. We just need the levels for now.
Yeah, I'm more worried about them being able to deal with the Omni Knight later, but they can worry about that as the time comes. First things first, they need to get some levels, they need to get a little bit more farm, they need to get track, and they need to get kills. But I would really like to see them stack Ancients, take it out very easily with a TA, they can get some level 6 without the use of the Tome.
Oh, are they going to be able to get here in time? They lead off with the Imprisonment, but Thug, the two supports of Kaka and Faith just weren't quite in position to be able to set up. Spartan was sitting behind Thug, ready to pop out at a moment's notice as well. So the duo is going to start heading their way up to top lane, see if they can catch out Skylark, who's already had a where Madara is attempting to solo up against the Juggernaut and claim his level 6.
He doesn't have enough mana for Omni Slash, but he does have enough for Spin, and with the double disable from the Dire side, should be easy kill. Madara just dodges the scan. He's right outside that radius.
And these two supports may feel like the better option is to run straight down, see if they can get the smoke pop. Maybe Kaka can get it. It's right. Madara is not doing much in these trees, but at least he's not dying.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where you're looking at the map, not at your buff icon. So it expired, maybe 2 or 3 seconds before, so he wasn't completely sure that it popped from a hero rather than.
King comes out, trying to get that sleep, not going to be able to come off, and they just don't have the levels to be able to nuke down the Sand King at this point. The rest of NewBee will take that tier 1.
So now 10 minutes hits. I see the Tome immediately purchased by Bounty Hunter. It could be go time pretty soon. They're only lacking really the Bane Fiend's grip, but generally with a clip you should be able to get at least 1, if not 2 kills, but they have to be especially careful versus the Omni Knight.
Look at that, the way that they just quickly clear through waves. The spin and Fade Bolt being used by Faith. NewBee are pushing out all the lanes, getting a lot of information about Finem's heroes, their positioning, and even their progression in items and levels. So it is a bit wanting right now. Finem are good in experience, I should say. But quite the gold lead for NewBee so far, thanks to all these towers.
They're actually in the lead for experience by a good 2,500. This is because the two supports have been hooked up the entire time. Like Rubik and Sand King, for at least the first 6-7 minutes of the game, they were just being together.
Jump on to Madara. He's going to need some help. Kaka is trying to get himself away. Doesn't have the Burrow Strike up in time. That's going to be the first track kill of the game. Maybe next time, posts up very nicely. We'll be able to get another track onto Faith, giving Madara the space to be able to stay ahead of at least one of these heroes. But SC, he's moving a whole lot quicker thanks to that Haste Rune. He'll be able to get the jump here onto Madara.
no chance with a Brain Zap. Brain Zap plus Fade Bolt's like almost 600 damage.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about Rubik in this game, right? He's got free, easy steals against Spartan. All three of those abilities, Sleep, Brain Sap, as well as Fiend's Grip, pretty value for that hero.
Yeah, sometimes it's worth picking up one level of Enfeeble just to mess with the Rubik a little bit, make you think twice about stealing a spell from the Bane. And Luna, generally very fast hero, but that's because SCCC had a haste rune, was able to chase him down.
They're going to be able to surge up. Spartan, he tries to catch 9, but he doesn't quite get him. Juggernaut runs into the neutrals just at the right time, and that may spoil something very big. At Finem, we're looking forward to be able to get a Fiend's Grip kill.
Smoke. They smoked just to the northwest of their T1 tower, and it was on the high ground, and they're looking out for the juicy Luna, but it is tough. She has night vision, so this is why they do need to smoke.
Madara does seem to, both him and U9 are staying one step ahead of these attempted smoke ganks from the opposing team. Uh-oh, never mind. He's actually going to go to the neutral camp, and NewBee, their smoke is broken, but they are not going to be able to close that distance in time.
That's a very safe and smart play from Madara.
Yeah.
Even if you have Lance, like right-clicking it to aggro that is a little bit risky, but because he knows that so many heroes of NewBee are missing, he pulls the creep with the Illusion Beam. If they dive him at the T2, they don't know who's over there. They only have vision around that camp. But they see him go back down bottom.
They do have the mech now for Ad Finem, and that is another big boost in their team fighting capabilities. They're going to need it too. Madara puts himself deep in the trees here, but he TP's out, so they are just avoiding NewBee, it seems. Despite having these big, big cooldown ultimates like Eclipse, like Wall, even the fresh mech pickup, they still don't feel comfortable contesting NewBee for any of these towers.
The Omni Knight is way too strong right now. They don't really have any AoE disabled. They don't have any blinkers to get to them to the back line. And if they're S5 right now, how do you stop like a counter initiation with heal and then repel and then GA? There's no counterplay to that. There's no diffusal blade. You need like a blink Dezo TA to actually start putting pressure on heroes so that they might get one shot from Meld or 2 strikes, which just makes the positioning from Omni Knight very, very difficult. So no TA trap inside the pit. They have to be a little bit worried about them taking down Roche right now. It won't be that fast because there is not really that much int yet on the OD, but with Intreds and with the sustain,
just
Modi,
the full 5-man of NewBee,
they might concede a T2.
It does kind of seem like the way that Ad Finem have been playing, they've been dodging NewBee for this whole entire time. It would be pretty understandable if they actually knew Roshan was going on right now and they just hoped to be able to take this tier 2 as an exchange. In fact, I think I would be pretty happy if I was Ad Finem getting that boost of gold. All they have to do at that point in time is make sure that NewBee do not actually claim any high ground advantage with their Aegis. They're going to smoke up and mass TP here, some to the tier 3 tower. One of them is going to be leading off in tier 2. That's going to be SC. He managed to catch the Templar Assassin, and Ad Finem are going to be forced into a fight here. Thug needs some help. He turns around, gets a good amount of damage on SC. They also throw the wall down, but it gets a heal and a repel. Kaka makes a nice initiation, but they manage to get the Fiend's Grip, but Faith immediately puts a stop to that one with telekinesis. SC, he drops the hammer, but can't finish anybody off. It looks like Thug may be caught here, but he has the refraction. Quickly burning through that one. He's going to be forced back. Maybe next time will help cover his tracks on the background. Faith barely stays alive. It's going to be Ad Finem's Bane who goes down instead. But they managed to get the Juggernaut, making it all worth it for Ad Finem.
Yeah, that was actually great for them. Taking down the Juggernaut, they dealt with the Outworld Devourer very, very well. They slept him at the start, and then they almost had a full duration Fiend's Grip onto him, combined with the Eclipse. So they're positioning on the left side inside the trees. Like, look at where Spartan is from the Bane. That's very hard to interrupt the Fiend's Grip, and Faith does his best. He steals the Fiend's Grip, but with the Eclipse coming out, the wall is also just placed in a position where it's very difficult for NewBee to fight.
And KP just came in a little bit too late with that Guardian Angel. The Juggernaut put himself forward against Thug like that, and that quick burst damage, that physical damage coming in from the Meld, clearly took him by surprise, as well as KP. And that is really what turns into a lost team fight there for NewBee, trading a core in exchange for support. They do barely keep that tier 2 tower alive. It is in deny range, but they're not going to take that time just yet. They also have a lingering advantage here for the next fight, potentially. Faith does have the Fiend's Grip ready to go.
Still, they need a Blink Dagger on Sanking. That's the one that's 500 gold away from them. Sanking's much more difficult to play when there's a bounty hunter in the game. You can't rely on just disjointing stuff with a Sandstorm very, very often. And he can also stop you from split pushing the side lanes very easily.
It seems like Ad Finem, despite not having a Diffusal Blade, like an early Diffusal Blade hero, they do seem to know how to play around this Omni Knight pretty well. That was an impressive display at that top lane of the way they kind of kited back and forth and covered each other's tracks to make sure they didn't all-in commit for a team fight that quickly gets turned around by a simple heal and Guardian Angel play from KP. So
yes, they want NewBee to go on the offensive. If you go on the offensive, oftentimes you have to pre-repel or you have to sacrifice your Omni Knight's positioning. It's generally one or the other. If you're playing defensively and you wait for the other team to come to you, Omni Knight just hides in the fog and then you just cast your spells, no problem, reactively. But yeah, when you have to run into them, it's harder.
But surely there's only so much team play that can be done by Ad Finem, right? Like, do you think they actually need a Diffusal Blade out of this team? And if so, who's actually going to be picking it up? All right.
I'd say probably the TA at some point. Sometimes you'll see TAs get it just in response to Ghost Scepters.
Barely making it out. Maybe next time. Clean escape.
Yeah, I like the way that he's playing, though. He leached a lot of XP. Yeah, he died twice and he lost his tower, but there's not really that much else he can do. It was just a little bit unfortunate that he did take a spill twice.
Faith just used his Fiend's Grip because he's about to run out of that spell steal on a big creep, but he may not be anticipating running into some members of Ad Finem here. Spartan and Madara have grouped up as a nice duo with the Eclipse. They could easily bring down any one or two heroes that they run into, but they don't find anybody here as we... Spartan, come on, give me something. Oh, yeah.
He always has something
He's
to
pumped.
say. And Ad Finem almost hit the timing right before the Sand King's Blink Dagger. That's what they were trying to aim for. They really slowed him down with that one track kill. The only track kill. The only kill that they've gotten.
Yeah.
Or only track kill, I think. But they just missed it. Sand King had just walked back home, so their smoke was to no avail.
Hello? Blink Dagger? All right, we've got it now.
Yep. He just got it.
Kaka will pick up his Blink from the ground. Him and KP both have some form of initiation. KP can, I think now that NewBee, when they're playing aggressive, they can rely on KP a little bit more now that he's got that mobility. They really want to be able to interrupt any ancient farming here, but just got cleaned up by Thug before they can really make their move.
And Radiant has used scans, so they definitely expect a smoke. They're just not sure from which angle. But now that OD shows in the mid lane, it's pretty much, they can guess with almost certainty where the rest of NewBee are. So just a minute left on the Aegis. NewBee set up 2 new Observer Wards, one right outside the T2 in the mid lane and one close to the Ancients, so they can hopefully catch an unsuspecting Templar Assassin. So Templar Assassin picked up a Blink Dagger. Next item looks like it will be an Ogre Club for the BKB. She needs it.
So they make that kind of push, and they set up nice aggressive wards, but what's NewBee's game plan for the next 1 or 2 minutes around those wards? Do you think they're going to go for another push, or are they waiting for another smoke opportunity?
They definitely still want team fights. Like any sort of team fight that they can get, I think they should be aiming for, as long as it's not under a tower from Ad Finem. That just gives them way too much of a positional advantage to win the team fight. But they need the Sand King to just hit a big epicenter. There's no BKBs up there yet. Like Luna's still in that very early phase, although I say early and she has a ton of HP. She has a lot of strength. She has 1500 HP, but it's still, I'd say, relatively easy for them to burst him down, especially with the OD being fairly massive. He's kind of uncontested in his sort of farm. But I think at some point they have to deal with the TA. Like TA is getting kind of big, and I think Omni Knight is like pretty decent, but Purification Heal only does so much if your cores don't have that much armor. And Juggernaut is kind of already itemized against the TA. Manta, like, it makes it very difficult for TA to actually hit the real target, get rid of the minus armor, and you can also turn around and hit the TA for many instances to get rid of the refraction. And then the OD, he went for second item plate mail after Force Staff. So they're very aware that the Luna is going to be an issue. Or sorry, the TA is going to be an issue in terms of damage.
If you didn't see what just happened at bottom lane, this is why you pick up a Bounty Hunter right here. Bounty Hunter lays some nice aggressive vision that manages to spot out all of NewBee's rotations to defend that tier 1 tower, buying Ad Finem essentially a push that forces NewBee to rotate around, and then they just move to the opposite side of the map with full confidence. Look at them, they're just pushing out. They're rather spread. They're just trying to efficiently farm the map while they know NewBee are all climbed up towards the south.
This is the big benefit of the Bounty Hunter. Some people might be like, oh man, Bounty Hunter first phase, are you crazy? But the way that he's playing it is like a Riki.
Yeah.
So that's the way that they can just swap gears. Okay, if they have better team fight than us and they always 5-man, I'll just play the vision game and pretty much never use Strike. They've gotten 2 kills this game, and you might think that's a worthless pick, but I think the way he's playing it, they're not really counting on Track at all to win the game. They're just being super annoying with the Bounty Hunter and just wasting time, creating space, waiting for BKBs, waiting for more items, waiting for defusal.
Yeah, maybe next time was actually in a position, multiple times he's been in position to both get aggressive wards and also try and break smokes to cover his two rather farm-heavy cores, because these were two cores that were looking rather weak around 12 minutes, right? When NewBee are grouping up and they're taking so many towers, you look at both the Templar Assassin and the Luna, you say, hey, they're mid-game team-fighting heroes, but they definitely need their core items before they're ready to go. TA needs at least that Deso, if not Blink, as well as BKB, and the same kind of applies to Luna with the Manta. You need to be able to have some serious stat gain in order to really contest with this hero. It looks like Madara is not actually going to be going for the Manta next. He's going for the earlier BKB, it looks like, with the Mithril
They might want to fight right around the second Roshan respawn, because TA is almost done. She just has her BKB, so Blink, Deso, BKB, that's good enough for now. You can work on whatever item you want next, Crystallis, Daedalus, or Diffusal Blade, but it depends on how long the Roche spawn timer is. They did just place a sentry ward right outside the Roche pit, which did deward the trap, so neither team will be aware that Roshan is just about to respawn in about 5 seconds time.
Do you think Madara's trying to match one of his peaks with essentially the Templar Assassin's very large peak that she comes in timing? Thug is going to be caught here in the top lane in some serious trouble. He does have the Refraction, Blink, and BKB all up, so he might be able to get out of this unless they combo stun him up. He's going to try and TP out. It looks like he should be okay. It's close, but the physical damage just isn't quite enough. Unfortunately, KP just a quarter of a second too late to hit that Burrow Strike as the BKB goes off first for Thug.
Whew, that was so close. But I think you are right with them trying to match. You want your two cores to be on the same page. You want to be able to fight at the same time. You want to be farming at the same time. If they just play as 4 in the team fight, they're going to get crushed, because NewBee's almost always together as 5. And now looks like NewBee will start heading close to the Roshan pit. Juggernaut has a defusal of his own. And let's see, they scout out Roche, but not interested in taking it quite yet. I don't think they're strong enough to win a team fight, but only just barely, and I don't think it's worth it for them to pick up a gem just yet, just because a TA could like easily two-shot one of their supports, especially the Rubik.
I don't know. I think it might be time for a gem. I mean, look how many counter wards they've laid down as NewBee, because they know their movements are being read. The problem is, it's a bounty hunter. He's placing wards that you're not used to actually having to contest. A ward between tier 1, tier 2 bottom. A ward that's already inside your base, up at the top lane. It seems at Finem, NewBee know this. They knew all their movements. Oh, it's gonna be, oh, what? Maybe next time, no. All right, Courier, it'll get a pass this time around, but will NewBee get a pass on this Roshan attempt? It seems like Ad Finem no, and they are quickly moving into the Roshan pit with this smoke.
And Darkseer has a Blink Dagger.
They're going to blink forward, Burrow Strike already on the Thug. That's going to stop that big entrance, and the wall vacuum just becomes an impossible situation. NewBee are just going to push forward without it as they miss the vacuum combo, and there it goes. SC moves forward big time, managed to take out the Luna, the second core of this fight, who's already down Thug in the backlines, does manage to kill at least the Rubik, but now he no longer has his BKB. The Diffusal Blade's going to be able to slow him down. Blinks over the side, but now KP will keep pace with him. Unfortunately, they are lacking any counter vision, so Thug can bide his time another 4 seconds. He will have a blink up as well as a refraction. Are they really going to try and chase him down? Sanking's on his way. There goes the blink, but they're going to be able to keep up with Thug. He's going to go for the TP out in prison. It's not going to be there in time. SC as well as Kaka were on their way. At Finem, though, that was just the fact that they got away with Thug was a bare minimum that had to happen. That was a disastrous fight.
And Skylark went for the super high-risk play. He went for the blind Blink Vacuum. He only got a wall on one person. He was hoping for at least a 3-person vacuum wall, but instead, SECC was already repelled, so he wouldn't have been hit. And then Madara, you can see, like, he doesn't have BKB. He just gets destroyed.
Yeah, they still have yet to be able to finish up that item. He just needed a little bit more gold. And they could have had that big team fight pickup, and maybe Skylark wouldn't have felt as compelled to make such a high-risk play if they had that reliable magic immunity for the Luna.
They still could have lost way more heroes. They didn't lose the TA, and Bane also had a nice sleep close to the secret shop that kept the OD from stopping his TP. So I think they're lucky to only lose Roche.
Yeah, absolutely.
What, 1 or 2 heroes?
Quick update on the net worth. NewBee are holding 2,500, and that experience lead that Ad Finem have had by efficiently farming out the map this whole entire time, that is finally in NewBee's favor instead.
And going back to the discussion of the gem, like the gem is it's great in the fact that, yeah, there are 5-manning and it would own all the TA traps, but at the same time, it makes you more compelled to 5-man, and they're not like winning out hugely in terms of farm. So I think if they get a gem, they'd be like, okay, we can only 5-man from now on because our supports can still die. Because their cores are very farmed. Bounty Hunter could be anywhere on the map, and TA could be right behind them. Like, even if you had the gem, you might not be able to watch the Bounty Hunter watching you because of the gem radius is much smaller than his daytime vision.
At Finem trying to get a catch as they knew that some of the NewBee members were actually rotating up to the top lane. Kaka is kind of leading the charge there. See if he could pick off Thug, who's always keeping pressure on one of these side lanes to make sure that NewBee don't have a free pass to just march down the mid lane.
And Thug has gone for the Chrysalis build, and the Diffusal, as has been mentioned earlier, it might not be the best choice because if you look at Omni Knight's items, he has an Ultimate Orb. Ultimate Orb on Omni Knight usually means a Lincoln Sphere. So Lincolns, especially with the new cooldown Diffusal, it's not reliable. So it's better for him, in his eyes, to just one-shot people so that Omni Knight can't get a chance to react. Who cares about Repel if you can just one-shot them with physical damage?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he can even one-shot KP if he really starts building up that damage. Won't have to worry about the Guardian Angel at all. More mobility coming out for Outworld Devourer.
And the gem is up on Sand King. So now Sand King has to be especially careful. Even TA, they would have gotten a lot more out of that Roshan fight had they had this gem a little bit earlier. And all these reserve rewards going to be toast.
He's only had it for a couple minutes now, but there is still plenty of vision up for Ad Finem just due to the rather unique areas that they are, especially that one inside base. But it doesn't do Ad Finem any good if NewBee are the ones marching into your base. They're already taking that tier 2 tower at top lane, and they may just keep going in order to force Ad Finem back. Ad Finem, of course, on the opposite side of the map, as they are constantly want to do. They're trying to make some trade-offs here, but...
So this is Skylark's time to shine. He is smoked up, he is ready. They were grouped up as 4, but now sensing that everyone was out, and we'll just back off.
Yeah, they... NewBee C, nobody's actually pushing down that tier 2 anymore, so...
It's so risky pushing into Darkseer. Like, he didn't have a good vacuum wall, that's because he had to jump into them, but when you're playing on the defense, when you have the high ground, when you have the invisibility from smoke, it can destroy a team that has no BKBs.
At the same time, there is only an Aegis for another minute and a half. Do you think NewBee are still going to try and force it with this Aegis?
No way. Their lanes are not pushed in. I think going down bottom is just too risky. They still don't have any BKBs, and if you pre-repel someone, it's still a little bit risky too, just because your Omni Knight can die. And now the TA is on top of the net worth chart, just a couple hundred above the OD, but that's pretty difficult considering that he has had like almost no track kills, and they've been having to play from the back foot from like minute 2.
It's looking like Ad Finem actually want to try and force things at the top lane. They're drawing the line, and they're setting up for a big-time push just about the time that the Aegis is going to be expiring from NewBee.
Yeah, there's still a minute left on Aegis, but you have to respect Luna and TA when it comes to pushing power, especially when you don't have the Dezo on your team.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the TA by herself is going to be able to chunk down this tier 3 tower, and nobody wants to fight around a Luna when she's already hitting on your Raxes, but NewBee are a bit slow to get here. They're going to come forward. SC, nice blink backwards there by Thug. Unfortunately, Luna doesn't have the same kind of mobility. They're going to need to get off the BKB, but it doesn't go down. The first strike comes out first, and they've already blown up the big carry of that Finem and taken down the Bane as well. BKB TP out for 1, but the supports and the utility offlane won't be as lucky. That's 4 down from Ad Finem as SC picks up the triple kill. NewBee, they easily defend, and now they can be the ones clearly on the offensive.
They had an Observer Ward up the hill, but it wasn't enough to give Luna enough information to pop her BKB right as soon as possible, pretty much. And she just got destroyed by this OD who has a lot of intel, 155 intel. And they don't have the Aegis anymore, but with BKB still down for 30 seconds on the TA, and with 4 heroes dying, looks to be a clear sign for them to push up high ground. They really wanted a T3 down. I think Luna becomes like so much stronger once the T3's down because the glaives just bounce back and forth between the racks.
Thug sets up quick meld strike onto U9, but real sad thing is they do not have a wall of replica. That's one of the big high ground defending abilities. Oh, heavy nukes coming out. Nightmare will manage to help Thug dodge some of that, but the tier 3 tower is already down. Move forward, manage to get a 2-man vacuum, pull back onto the 2 carries. They actually have Bean's grip onto 9. NewBee are setting up with the epicenter, but Thug managed to jump forward. He interrupts that, but perhaps at the cost of his own life. No, he pops a BKB, moves forward, goes straight for the Juggernaut as quick as possible. KP, he'll get off the Guardian Angel, and immediately Ad Finem start retreating. They don't want to fight around that, but they may just be forced to. With another catch of the imprisonment, Skylark's going to be in serious trouble. He's the first to go down. NewBee now with a numbers advantage for 50 seconds as there's no buyback on the Darkseer.
And you can just see the strength of the Omni here. GA, okay, everyone backed off from Advent, man. Darkseer didn't blink out and retreat like the rest of the team, and he paid the heavy price.
And they don't have big ultimates at all. They don't even have BKBs. Nothing is going to be able to save Spartan there. SC, he realizes what a dominant position NewBee are in for this next team fight. They easily clean up the full lane of racks, and they can choose to go for more here.
Ooh, Luna Diffusal. This is unexpected at this point, considering she just died in one of the recent fights. It doesn't look like she sold any of her items, so maybe they can take this fight. Darkseer does have his wall up again.
Another jump forward, and SC's going to force Madara back to base. Actually, Madara's going to come forward because they got a really good vacuum and a wall combination, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. They don't have any damage coming out. Thug trying to battle up against the Juggernaut, but he gets taken down by the Omni Slash nice and easy, and there's nothing Luna could do at half HP. They just call it. Finem will relent to an SC godlike in this game number 1. NewBee looking so dominant here on the main stage as they, at a score of 17-3, have a clear lead now in this series.
Risky plays from them. I think that Finem just knew the entire game that they couldn't win a team fight, and they tried to draw it out as long as they could, trying to split push as much as they could, gather as much information with the bounty hunter, but at the end of the day, their team fight was worse, and when push came to shove, which was when they pushed high ground or
and then that fatal mistake has to be that top lane push, right? Where they didn't manage to get back in time, and the Luna essentially just got picked off immediately.
They needed to like just BKB TP out on their cores. If they lose their support, it's not that big of a deal. But as soon as the cores TP back, then they can split push out the side lane. So another day at work for NewBee.
Yeah, it really does look like that. As NewBee showing why they were one of the 5 favorites going into this tournament. And even if they were in a group with Virtus Pro, I think everybody looked at VP to take this tournament as a whole. NewBee still showed that they are one hell of a team to contend with. And
you have to be ever so impressed with SCCC. He is just absolutely crushing on that Invoker. 9-0-5 at the end. He kept up pace. Despite 5-manning with his entire team, he was like almost on top of net worth the entire game.
SC was crushing, and I know at least one member of the panel who was crushing on SC. Alex, are you there with Shiver?
Oh, Cap, I'm so proud of you.
I know. Oh, I know you'd like that one.
That was beautiful. Yes, indeed.
Just for you, Alex.
That was wonderful. I love that. But yes, Shiva is joining me alongside Winter and Fog. Thank you very much, Cap and Malini. Oh, I'm still reeling from that. That's put a big smile on my face. That was like a birthday card, you know?
Oh.
Good
I guess you don't get a lot of compliments then.
No, it wasn't a compliment. He was just making a dank meme, and I liked it. Yeah, I like a good pun.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually fuel me.
I like your rhymes.
My rhymes. They're 90% accidental, but occasionally I try to do them deliberately. Still, I mean, a lot of accidents did happen for Finem, right? I mean, look at this scoreline. We came in suggesting we've got a good 3-game series, and despite the draft, perhaps raising a couple of questions about that bounty hunter, an 18-3 scoreline.
So the early game was absolutely horrible for Finem. I felt like we said we had a lot of pressure on MNT creating space and just doing his thing, and he couldn't really do that. The bottom lane crushed, like NewBee's dry lane was absolutely dominant. But it was still Finem coming back in the mid game saying, and we said how strong they were with fighting that, and they definitely proved that. But that start though.
Yes. Well, I mean, I just want to come back to the point you made before, Fogged. I think it was you or Winter just saying that bounty hunter has to do well early, has to get.
That was Giannis.
That was Giannis.
Yeah, they didn't give him the chance to. They put this aggro tri lane. I really liked NewBee's way that they approach this game. They recognize there's no way that they can fight our tri lane, even if they bring the bounty hunter down there. It's too much pressure. Finem even saw the rotation. They tried to put the bounty hunter in the bottom lane and put the Darkseer jungling, try to get the most out of the lane. But NewBee's like, okay, we'll just take your tower. And I think that was
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes, earliest tower I think we've seen taken at this entire tournament.
That was just a very, very good play by NewBee, setting the tone and the pace of the game.
Yeah,
just punishing them for the weak lanes.
Yeah.
Finem tried to stop the bleeding a bit, and I think they succeeded in that for a while.
Yeah, they did a really good job for that.
There was definitely a chance for them to also come back. Like this fight right there.
The vacuum.
If the vacuum was like a split second before if the repel wasn't there, like it could have been amazing. It wasn't, unfortunately, for Finem.
It was just like, in the position that they got their Luna placed into, it's so hard to play Luna in this game. That's why I was kind of emphasizing, like, I personally, like, just looking at Finem, I wanted them to draft the Ursa. But, like, I know why they did the Luna, because they wanted to be able to scale harder. But you could see how hard he struggled. He's like, I need a BKB. Even when he gets his BKB, doesn't even get it off, gets instantly disabled, blown up. And even though Finem did a great job of like delaying the game, MNT, maybe next time's movements, placing the wards, like just watching the movement of NewBee, avoiding fights as much as possible. Eventually, you have to fight. And they just weren't able to. The Luna is just way too far behind. When you're playing Luna and you're so far behind, it's horrible.
I mean, imagine if they had another kind of carry, a carry that comes online faster, a carry that is like Ursa, like Yannis mentioned. Yeah. The game would have allowed them to be much more aggressive and maybe take some early fights and use the track on Bounty Hunter better. They were like, even though they were placing good wards with the bounty, but you do want to take fights. You do want to trade kills.
Yes.
You want to use your track.
So what would an Ursa have done much better than the Luna? Apart from
you function better
faster.
with less items.
Strong lane as well. It's like hard to really like kill. You match up well. It's a good in the carry matchup. You know, Jug versus Ursa.
Yeah.
Jug of course scales later on, but Ursa in the early stages is able to just obviously because you stack Furious type charges through the spin.
But I don't think he would be able to farm like. It's the same with Luna because they did an aggro charge. If Ursa is in that lane, I don't think he would have gotten a lot more than the Luna. But the main difference is he does a lot more than Luna with less items.
Less items.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we can actually take a look at the numbers and see what went wrong for Luna and co. The scoreboard will help showing exactly that. And I mean, if you look at the spread, it was just so minimal for Ad Finem. You're right, though. Shiva, you were saying in the green room that the score, that it's weird. Not sometimes we say a series or a game doesn't represent the full, the power of a series, but this scoreboard almost doesn't.
It really doesn't. There were so many potential fights that, if you would imagine this game, and if Ad Finem would have had a better laning stage and those fights would have still happened, they would have won this game. I feel a stronger, more solid laning stage, be that because of different heroes. They would have outfought, I think, NewBee. NewBee won those fights purely based on the first 10 minutes and getting extra out of those first 10 minutes.
It's their weakness in the lanes, and their opponents would take advantage of that. You can't really get away. It's very difficult to get away with what they drafted for themselves. It's like a kind of weakness, and NewBee just they took advantage of it. They took a tower and bottom lane, and that totally set the pace of the game.
Now, why is it that Kaka has been highlighted here on his Sand King as opposed to, say, Outworld Devourer we saw from SCC? What was it that sprung to mind when we were asking for MVP? You guys ended up saying Kaka on his Sand King.
His movements, I think.
Yeah, his movements.
Movements was really good, and he's the captain of the team, and the calls that he's been making. I mean, we don't know who made the specific call, but his movements on the Sand King set the pace of the game. He didn't focus on, I want to get my blink. I need a lane. He didn't do that. He was like always moving around. They smoked a lot in the early game just to get wards down, just to get kills for towers. So he was really selfless on the Sand King.
He did get it eventually. Yeah. He got his blink. And someone that doesn't blink ever is Purge. Let's head over to him.
I have been known to blink before. That was a damn lie. Stop telling lies about me. Oh my god. Okay, let's jump into the battle here. Great initiation. This is one of the deciding moments here due to the vacuum. Just jumping in on this. Oops, that's not what I want. I'll use a different tool. That initiation is really important because ideally they can grab the Fiend's Grip in addition with it, but the problem is that by the time it finally came out, he was already spinning, making him magic immune. And on the other side of the fight, that's why I'm getting the wrong tool. Sorry, guys. On the other side of the fight, the supports are super covered in a place where Ad Finem actually can't get to the backline. So a lot of their damage is magical, actually, especially with Luna Eclipse, things like that. But just because of the spin, it just makes it so much harder to get to the backline. And the next person that can hit the backline is actually Thug. But right here, he actually missed his Meld Strike, which would have started the fight off on a great spot. And kind of interesting play by Kaka here. Rather than finish his Epicenter channel, he actually instantly Burrow Striked him instead because he hadn't popped his BKB yet. So it's like the mix of things, the Jug spin as well as the missed Meld Strike and a very crucial Guardian Angel there by Omni Knight just really made the fight a guaranteed success for NewBee. And because NewBee had such good map movement, Ad Finem never really got a good fight in the first place and no good track hold from that. So there you go.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Purge. And I mean, he's doing a good job when you have Winter sitting there going, like it helps highlight these. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like, ooh,
that was good. I mean, going back to the point that he made about the blink initiations on the Sand King. Like if you think about Ad Finem's lineup, who is the hero that's mainly starting the fights? It's the Darkseer with the vacuum. Like other heroes don't really have the ability to start fights as easily as the Sand King or even the OD with the imprisonment. So it's easier to play a lineup when you have multiple ways of like starting the fight.
Now, another name I want to talk about is KP. We actually have another treat for you guys. I've been thoroughly enjoying these player profiles. Both of them have been great. We got to see Rose, we got to see Jerax, and here comes number 3. It's KP we take a closer look at now. Put him under the limelight and learn more about Omni Knight and his player.